Welcome to today's stream, guys. Today, trying something a little bit on the new side. Gonna kind of do a live build today. And the fun part about it is it's kind of gonna be like a whole room kind of thing. I haven't done a live build on Twitch for a while. So, in the meantime, I'm going to be just recording serial numbers. Hey, Owen, what's up, dude? Thanks for stopping by. I'm just going to get some serial numbers real quick, and then I'm going to start building in that tiny little chassis. So the music I have as well, guys, it's from Foxtails. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Oh, alright, well hopefully... What are you stress testing at, by the way? Hopefully you don't disappear. Let's see... Just need a copy over my serial number file. Where are you? Oh, here we go. But what are you doing? 4.4 gigahertz on that 6950X? Let's open some boxes. If the music's too loud or too soft, let me know. I have it turned basically off in my headset. I have different music playing off of my computer. One thing I do, guys, I record serial numbers. These are client builds, and so I usually unpackage everything first. We're doing an i7 8086 build, 8086K build, sorry. GTX 1080 for the win from EVGA. This isn't the For the Win 2, this is the original one, but EVGA is, they put the thermal pads and everything in them. If you guys remember all the fuss over them during launch. Whoa, man, that's unique. How did you get to that? Did you literally test each one individually, or? I've personally never clocked them at different. I always kind of just go whatever the max all core is, but I could definitely see the advantage of doing it the way you are, just to maximize every bit of performance out of it. Let's see, what am I missing? Got the CPU and Windows license. We'll do that later. Alright. I'm going to try to run through this pretty quickly, just because I'm curious about what my time is on these. I've had them down at about an hour and 15 minutes to do a build, but I'm actually a little rusty. I haven't done one in a few weeks. Man, Owen, how many hours do you have so far testing that CPU? That sounds like a lot of time, which I mean is kind of normal for an enthusiast. I used to stress test my 2700K like almost daily, I think, trying to get more and more and more out of it. Oh, yeah, a few weeks. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. It's been a few weeks. Let's see, cooler. The reason I do the serial numbers, guys, is that if there's ever an issue, I don't need to tear it apart to get the serial number and start the RMA process. I'll have it recorded, and once I troubleshoot, I'll know what the serial number is. Cool. Power supply. And I have just a notepad file with all the components. So all I gotta do is just hit the down arrow to the next one, scan it with my handy dandy reader, and that way I could just speed things up. Let's see, that's everything. I'll be using the CPUs I did the delid on yesterday's stream. I don't have all the parts for all of them yet, but at least I have enough for 2. And this is the second one. So do you think it's already been a good upgrade, or do you think I mean, you got such a good deal on that thing. Alright, let's get the trademark black gloves out. Guys, if you haven't seen the Sliger, well, it's technically Chimera, Cerberus, and Cerberus-X chassis. It's amazing. It's really good. They're kind of like a Case Labs. Instead of being made in California, they're made in Nevada. And I'm going to try to figure out my camera angles. But this is an ATX chassis. Where's the camera at? I'm still getting used to where these cameras are at. This is 15 inches tall. I'm going to show you what a built one looks like. And it'll kind of show how small this thing really is when you look at it built. They're about $250, but you know, you get aluminum panels and a steel chassis. Let's not trip over anything. So you can see the ATX motherboard goes to the top of this thing and all the way to the bottom. So it's maybe just like 2 inches taller than an ATX motherboard. This thing accepts radiators. I have a 280mm in the front. That's what we're doing today. We're doing this build I just showed you guys. We're going to be doing that right now. Alright, I don't need the chassis this minute, so we're going to put this over here. We're going to build the motherboard first. Yeah, man, it might even be smaller or the same size as the Manta. It's tiny. Really, really crazy. The one I want is the M8TX version. That thing's awesome. You could do a 240 or 280 on the bottom, I think. And I don't know what you could do in the front. I don't know if you could do the 240 on the front of that one. So this is the Asus Z370A Prime motherboard. It gets the job done. There's a few reasons I went with this one, but mostly because it's like guaranteed to always be in stock. That way I could standardize the motherboard, and you know, it's just easier to keep, you know, just handle larger clients that maybe buy 20 or so at a time when you know it's the same motherboard. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this thing probably is as tall or shorter maybe. Yeah, somehow dude, I don't know. That was brave to cut that thing up the way he did. Alright, why do I feel like I'm forgetting something in here? Alright, cool. We'll figure it out. It's funny, so I'm running the stream off of the BH2, but I have the chat on the Ryzen computer, like all super blown up, like 200%, so I could read it from over here. This is something I do that I think is kind of cool. I use these anti-static foam, like eggshell kind of things, and I put the motherboards on them while I'm working. I have a trash down here if you guys are wondering what I'm throwing trash into. How are the camera angles? I'm totally like winging this stream. I'm like, I wish I did the stream with the first one I did. I was so like amped up on the Red Bull. I was just being silly, man. Like, people would never guess I could be that way. But I wasn't set up, so we didn't get it on camera. Nobody will ever know how funny or weird I can be. So right now, guys, this covers one of the M.2 connectors. They kind of make it like a heatsink. There's actual thermal pad on there, which is cool. And we're gonna put a 970 Pro in there. Let's see, I don't want to lose these little M.2 standoffs. Even though we're only using one M.2 in here, I always screw in all of the M.2 standoffs, just so like if I need one a year from now, the client wants to upgrade, it's already there and I don't need to look for it. I use a socket, but I just kind of, well, even though I'm using a socket on it, I'm just using like hand, you know, I'm just torquing it by hand. I have no effects playing on the other computer, by the way, so that's kind of, if you see me getting all pumped up, that's why. Actually, I'm going to turn it up a little louder. Do you find those heatsinks actually helping? Yeah, I don't think it's necessary at all. Gamers Nexus, PC Jesus always says the actual memory chips like being hot. It's the controllers that don't like the heat. But even then, it's like they don't really overheat. I think people. This is the PC community. Like, someone creates an extremely rigorous test that no one will ever duplicate except maybe a server, and even though these aren't server parts, that's probably the only workload that'll overheat something, and then they find that one scenario that'll cause the throttle, and then they act like it's a junk product. Oh dear God, it overheat under this impractical test. And that's what happened to the 950 Pro. People went crazy on it. Like, everyone acted like you needed a heat sink. Now that everyone, you know, is selling like water-cooled M.2 blocks, and I mean, honestly, like, I don't have a problem with mine, and it's in an ITX chassis. And then the 960 series, from what I understand, they just adjusted the algorithm so the drive shuts off quicker, and the label has like a thin copper or something heatsink on it, and that's enough. That was all that was needed to fix the issue that didn't really exist, although I guess technically it did. Man, like, there's so much, you know, it's like nowadays everyone's just trying to make a headline. I don't want to get into politics here, but it just seems like everyone's always trying to make a headline. And I kind of get it with PC hardware, at least, because our hardware nowadays is so good. Like, how do you tell it apart? Like, honestly, like, really the bottleneck nowadays is the software we're using. The developers need to like start leveraging it better, and that's why I'm so happy Ryzen came out. AMD really did us all a favor, because now we're in a cores battle, and if we're in a CPU cores battle, then hopefully developers, you know, will start realizing like, hey, we need to start making things more threaded. Yeah, man, the EVGA thing was such BS also. Like, was it Buildzoid noticed it wasn't even VRMs? Like, people that uploaded images were uploading images with blown caps or something. And it's easier it's like EVGA kind of did the right thing on from a PR move. Hold on, let me mute this real quick. I gotta blow this off. Actually, I don't know if they did the right PR move. I think the right PR move would have been... Yeah, sorry, dude. I just noticed when I went to unmute it, that's when I actually muted it. So, sorry for people on mics. EVGA probably did the wrong PR move. They pretended like they fixed the issue by putting in those heatsink or the thermal pads. And since it wasn't an issue, they acknowledged it was an issue by doing that. And the community didn't let it down. It just kept it in the headlines because, like, all right, they recognized they were hotter than other cards. And it would have been a news article that blew over, except they released a fix for it, and then it brought it back into the news cycle. Whereas, like, Asus, when they had the horrible heatsinks on the R290s, like, they were bad. They just pretended like nothing was wrong, and everyone forgot immediately. Whereas EVGA like tried to like help out the community and make things run cooler, they got, I think, punished for it. So that was like the messed up part. Let's see, I think we're gonna do the cooler brackets. Right now we're using the Thermaltake 280mm all-in-one because it's like the only one I could find. I think Arctic Cooling or whatever has one with the like thin hoses, but as far as I know, they're, you know, this Thermaltake one is the easiest one to get a hold of, and it's cheap. I think it's like $100 for this 280mm. It has red LED fans, although we're not using those. We're switching them out for ML140s. It performs well though. The cooler does well. It's Acetec based unit, and here's the weird thing about it. I got set up with an Acetec or Aztec, or I don't know how they pronounce it. I got set up with one of their reseller programs, and they don't offer the 280mm as an OEM solution. They have 240, 120. There's two different 240s, and then they have the 360mm, but no 280mm. Okay. The Arctic ones. Oh, maybe you caught it on sale. That's actually, I think these are like 80 or 90 bucks. I forgot. No, these are the LED ones, so they're like, I think 110 or 100. Okay. So we're gonna slide these guys in. This is why I like this pink foam thing. Pink means it's anti-static. I think it's an industry standard thing. But even if it's not, I purchased them, so I know they're anti-static. So basically, boom. Boom. Now the pink foam is holding that little guy up. So now I could screw in the standoffs and not have to worry about it falling out. Let's see if the... Alright, I was just making sure the stream music was still playing. For some reason, so I have the YouTube Red, or whatever you know Google's now calling it. I have Foxtails playing off of Google Music, and I went to use Google Music on the second computer to listen to like some copyrighted music off stream, and it won't let me play on two devices. And I'm like, I got the family plan. What the heck? So I guess maybe multiple family members could listen, but you're not able to listen to two instances at once. Where's the RAM? It's like the tiny box. Here we go. JMC. Hey, is that Josh? Hey Josh, what's up, man? I think someone I did a D-lid for has a similar screen name. What time is it over there in Australia, dude? Alright, this is the thing I hate most about Corsair RAM. Everything has the stupid little plastic protective film on it. That's a pain to get off. Like, if you're trying to be fast at least, it's a pain to get off. So I use the iFixit little pry thing to get the stuff off. Especially when I'm using these gloves, I can't really use my nails so much, so alrighty. I'll be getting into the fun part soon. I'll be putting this inside the chassis soon. Oh, cool, man. Oh, that's right. It's Saturday over there. Yeah, it's coming up on 9 o'clock. I don't think I've had dinner actually, but it's alright. What did I have for lunch? Oh, I had a late lunch. I had a Mexican carne asada burrito. So good. It's like Tio Rico's Tacos out here in Henderson, but the ironic thing is they're a chain from California, and it was like Inglewood or something where I first had it. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do for this build in particular is I'm gonna set this aside over here. I'm gonna get this off the bench. Let's make some space. I'm gonna just do some work on the cables, the chassis cables on the Cerberus-X. Yeah, man, when I'm building, I don't really get hungry. I'll drink coffee and whatnot, and sometimes the coffee actually gets me hungry, but usually it's like, by the time I get hungry, it's like hours after normal people eat. Alright. This chassis, the panels are toolless, so they got these cool little, let's see, where are the cameras? They got these cool little metal things that pop in retainers. Yeah, man, I see you forgot about class the other day too, right? And this build is a BIMbox build I'm doing for them. It's a white label build, so I'm building it and they get to put their name on it. So Sliger, they offer like custom printing, so you could see. Now, if you order one from them, they could print like full-on graphics. The way what Colin over there at Sliger told me is, if a printer can print it, we could put it on a chassis. So of course I let my friends at NZXT know, but I don't think they're in need of work like that. But every now and then it comes up. Okay, let's balance all of this. Actually, I'll put this up here. There we go. Perfect. And let's get the last one. So, oh, dude, there's been some times where I'm like working, like building till like 4 or 5 in the morning, and around 3 o'clock I might start getting tired. I'll just take a nap on my desk. I'll put my head down and set the alarm. Alright. I'm trying to beat the 30 frames per second. I want to move faster than that so it looks all like glitchy and stuff. I guess I could have turned down the bandwidth too, and then I could have just said, no, it's not bandwidth, I'm just really fast. Actually, let's do this. The stuff's powder coated, but I don't want to risk scratching it. So, IO shield, never forget. And if you do forget, just tell your friends, it's for airflow, guys. Only noobs install their IO shields. Guys like Owen know what's up. It's all about airflow. You don't need it. What's funny though, I did some mining builds that were in like server, like 4U chassis. They're actually in a data center for a while in LA, but I intentionally left the IO shields out because there was so much airflow going out of it when I tested without it that I felt it was worth leaving it out. So let's see where the camera's at. So now guys, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to show you guys. So I'm gonna take these cords off and I run the IO cables directly down this way. I'm just gonna pre-wire that. The 3.0 header is gonna plug into like right around here, so I'm just gonna kind of pre-wire that. It's easier to do it now when the motherboard's not in it. Yeah, dude, they should. I'm honestly, man, I'm not a fan of like the trim also. Like the IO port trim on the inside, it looks super cool, but like on a workstation board or something, it's like, I mean, I don't know, I don't need it. The EVGA Dark has one, but at least it's actually directing airflow. But there's some pretty high-end boards that have it, and I'm like, it's covering a VRM or a heatsink. So that's why I'm kind of like, dude, I don't know, I'm conflicted. Because they do look cool though. ASRock needs to like get on it though, because like if, alright dude, ASRock for example, like the Z170 OC formula, the Z270 Super Carrier, if you run 4 video cards in there with backplates, you have to remove it because they put that IO cover, the IO port cover, the beauty one, so close to they put it so close to that PCI Express slot that the backplate will hit and it won't really let it fit easily. I had to do that also with the X299 Rampage board. Granted, on that one, the X299 Rampage, I was using the MSI cards, I think, and their backplate was abnormally high. Like I get, like, I think MSI was trying to have the backplate far from the PCB to increase airflow, but in multi GPU situations, it just like, it was a bit of a pain. Let's see. So this is the little trick I do, guys. I zip tie the bottom and I zip tie the top so that I could kind of loop the center easily. But I'm gonna need to have it face this way so I could like do the zip ties properly at this point. Yeah, Gigabyte needs to get off the orange, man. It's like some of their boards have the orange and it like totally kills it, but like for example the X470 Gaming 7 or whatever, they did such a great job with that heatsink that I'll forgive the orange, and that would be the one, that would be the X470 board I'd get. Just because, like, thank you, somebody put a real heatsink on VRMs. Well, EVGA I think has the award right now for best VRM heatsink. Okay, and you go this way. Now we're just zip tying the USB 3.0 header. This chassis has 2 USB 3.0 Type A connectors, and that is it. No audio. It's got like a super cool switch. I don't think it's a Vandal on-off switch, but it's definitely a really nice on-off switch. Let's see. That should do. Oh, dude, I know, like, it's like they made probably the best X299 overclock board with the dark, and then the other boards are like weird. Dude, their MATX board looks like, I don't even know I don't know how, it couldn't have been the same team that made the Dark. The Dark is like such a great board, and it's like, where did, like, they must have had another team do their other motherboards. But the Dark is awesome. That's gonna eventually make it to the Define R6 build I have. Yeah, that'll work. Let's cut some zip ties, because once things are in, it's a little harder. I'm gonna mute this for a sec. Yeah, the plan, it's gonna be the 7920X, and then since I have that 360mm fractal cooler, I'm gonna try using that first. If temps don't go down a whole lot, I might go with an EK 360mm loop, just to maybe push for 4.7. Right now, it looks like 4.6 is gonna be an easy one to do. Alright, the one thing that sucks about the Z370A is, I don't know, it's like, I wish it had more USB ports, but otherwise it's not bad. I mean, for what, you know, this is technically a great gaming computer, but it's going to be actually used for architecture. Technically, you want a good, like, Autodesk computer, like Autodesk, like anything in Autodesk. If you're not, unless you're doing like CPU rendering, if you're just, I mean, a good CAD computer, like, just get a gaming computer. It's basically what it'll do. When I build them, I kind of use higher quality parts, not kind of, actually do use higher quality parts than your run-of-the-mill gaming computer. There's that, but CPU and GPU wise, yeah, gaming stuff is actually best. But you know what, man, at least Owen, you got like the top of the line for that motherboard, and I was kind of bummed that X1099 didn't get an METX version like the X99 series did. ASRock, I think, has a really cool METX motherboard, but for some reason I don't really like overclocking on ASRock motherboards. I just, man, I don't know, like something, I feel like it's always way easier on Asus. For example, the Z270 Supercarrier, I could manually put my settings in and it'll crash, but if I use the default 5 GHz profile, it'll pass with way less voltage. And I'm like, I'll look at like, well, what is there, something I missed that thing did? You know, the currents, everything will be the same, but for some reason it'll crash if I do it manually, but the default one will pass. So I'm like, stuff like that kind of bugs me. So I tend to like Asus for overclocking. If I'm not overclocking, ASRock actually makes some pretty cool stuff. Like, they get it. Their i9XE series I think is pretty legit on the VRMs as well. Oh my gosh, dude. E8400. So I don't know how schools are in Australia, but I know, like, in America, man, our college system is kind of expensive, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that used in class. I took a semester of metal shop in college, and it was embarrassing. Like, our high school had tighter tolerances on the end mill, on like the milling machines and the lathes, and then like the community college had like sloppy machines, and I'm like, that's why I pay to take this class. And the teacher was like, no personal projects. Like, I'm like, oh well, I guess I don't need to take this class anymore. And now everyone can just easily buy a 3D printer and not need to have a metal shop. Yeah, I guess so, but like, I don't know, I just have had those weird situations, like Z170, I don't remember it being like that. Especially Z97, I really enjoyed them for Z97, like overclocking builds. But I don't know. It's I don't know. But Asus just always seems to do it nicely. Alright. Let's just do a quality control check, make sure I got the screws. That's the one thing I'm always paranoid about, is like if I forgot one or something. Alright, so next we're gonna drop in the cooler, but before I do that, I'm gonna set up the fans onto the radiator. Or does this look good? That works. I'll leave it there. One thing that's kind of funny is with Aztec or whatever. When you're inquiring about OEM pricing, you could determine whether you want the premium or the basic hardware, and it's only like $1 difference. So it's like, I don't. Why do people not use the premium all the time? Oh yeah, dude. That's why I have to run these in a pool configuration, which I know. I mean, I don't know. It might only be like 1 degree Celsius difference, but I have to run them in pool because with the design of the vents, if I go push, like so. The annoying noise kicks in so quickly that I can't get good fan profile speeds out of it. Hold on a sec, guys. I think the premium is just the anodized. It's just the anodized finish versus like the black regular one. This one has, I think, the basic finish on it, whereas Corsair used that anodized, like gunmetal kind of looking stuff. But my rep was kind of like, I don't know, like I just gave up on them. Before switching to the 280mm, I was experimenting with the Corsair was it the H10? It's just the basic 240mm, but it's like 38mm thick. That was what I was trying to use, but it was bugging me because it was so thick it would take up like the lower PCI Express slot. So I wanted to try the thinner all-in-one that they had, the 240. So I asked for a sample. I kept getting told I was gonna get one. I never got it. And dude, when you go OEM, you have to buy it. There's a minimum purchase quantity. You can't just buy 1 or 2. You have to buy like a case full. So I'm like, I'm not gonna buy. I don't remember if the case was like 12 of them, but I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna buy 12 of them just to find out these thin ones cool poorly. So we went with the 280mm. And it works really, really well. We're limited to like 10.5 inch length video cards. Thankfully, EVGA makes them within that size. But I think it's a better setup to have the radiator in the front anyways. No, not the radiator, just the mounting hardware. Like, I don't know, and like your H80i I think has that mounting hardware for the pump that's like a shiny finish. Kind of looks anodized or something. Well, it's probably steel, so it's just probably like a chrome plating or something. I believe that's the premium, and then the regular one is just the painted stuff. And it's like 78 in here, but having the headphones on always makes streaming kind of uncomfortable. And the way I work, it's not really friendly to have a mic, kind of like a normal streamer. So, I don't know, I gotta figure out something. Okay. I gotta see what I could do about music for the stream too, because it's like, I don't know, Foxtails is cool, but it's gonna get old fast, and the music I wish I could play is copyrighted, so I can't play it on stream. Unless I play copyrighted music on the live stream, but then when I archive it to YouTube, I just maybe no, because then I'll lose voice too. I don't know what I could do. It's like, hey, if I pay for my music subscription, shouldn't I be able to like listen to it anywhere? This is the trick, guys. You want to cable manage everything. So the way this is going to go mounted, guys, it's going to go in just like this, and the pump will be like this. That's how it'll be inside here. So the way these cables are going to go, they're going to run down this way, and then I'm going to have them bunch up under the radiator and plug in at the bottom with a splitter. That was one thing that didn't come in. You know, we needed some splitters, and thankfully I still have a couple, but we're short for all of the builds. Oh, I'll have to check out YouTube. What do you guys think about like YouTube streaming? Is it worth it? Because I don't think it'd be easy to be discovered. Whereas I think Twitch is pretty cool at that. You know, you put in a couple of communities, and you could do the whole rating thing, which was fun. Like Benchmark something or other. Darn, I forgot their name. They threw over like 40 people onto my stream yesterday when I was doing the D-Lid. Anyone watching too, if you have questions, feel free to throw them in chat. I build client computers, so I've kind of seen a lot of different questions. Happy to answer. We have some like Owen in chat. Josh, those people also know a lot. Actually, I want to try to see if I can mod you, Owen. Let's see. Our mod user. All right, Owen, you're a mod. You're not allowed to leave now. All right. So, what am I forgetting? Where's my splitter? There we go. Where's the one I want to use? The short one. Whoa. There's a camera right here. There it is. Alright. I don't know if the sword is because you have a sharp tongue, or it's because you're a mod. I don't know. I don't know what it means. The IG chat group had an interesting conversation that we probably shouldn't talk about here. Well, let's not talk about it, but probably get kicked off. kicked off of Twitch. Alright, so in the name of consistency, I just use the stock thermal paste that's already on this. You can see it. Some people have done tests, and the stock stuff, at least on the Corsair coolers, is really, really good. And since those are made by Asetek, I figure it's probably the same stuff on this thermal take one, so I just leave it on and it does fine. I've never had issues with it. Here's an interesting fact though, guys. If you have your reseller license or whatever, and you're trying to purchase from Asetek as an OEM, like I am, you could only get a few different models, but if you want anything custom, you basically have to be on a commitment like Corsair or Fractal or whoever it is. You can't just order 500 and get braided hoses, because that was one thing I asked about, hey, can I get braided hoses ordered? No, you need to basically be on the I'm gonna just throw out there because I don't remember, it's something like 1,000 per month commitment. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely not me. So basically you have to be retailing them to get the numbers in order to get a custom one made. Yeah, and I think who originally I originally saw test that was Tech Syndicate back in the day when Wendell and everybody was together. I think Logan actually did the video, but I remember thinking it was blasphemy, what? But I believed his testing, so I'm like, oh. And then I saw you mentioned it in the chat, I think, the IG chat a couple weeks ago. Alright, so I'm just gonna wrap the power cord around in a way that there's no slack. I want to do this one. Yeah, just gonna do it like the other one. I'm just kind of wrapping around the pump, and then I'm gonna loop around the mounting hardware. If you ever take the pump off, if you're looped around the mounting hardware, it's easy to get. The wires will come right off nicely. It's not a pain. And the nice thing is that it takes up the slack without needing to use a zip tie. And I don't know if it'll come out because it's a junky camera. Let's see. I don't know how well it's coming out. I'm kind of far from the streaming PC. So now I'm going to bolt up the radiator. Let me just double check. Mounting pressure. Once I feel those thumb screws stop moving, I stop applying pressure. So you don't need to crank on them, because at that point you're just going to get excessive. Yeah, dude, I wish it'd be fun to see a full-on conversation going on. I'm not cool enough to have friends though, so it's just us guys. Thanks for hanging in there. So this is something everybody should do. Try to mount your radiator in a nice place so the airflow will go across the system. I've seen some builds, and I know this is something Owen and I have talked about, where it's someone will have their radiator in the bottommost spot, and it's where one fan will be halfway into the basement. And I'm like, dude, why'd they do that? They should have had at least the airflow going into the system. Yeah, right. Alright, after this we'll be doing the video card. And then after the video card, power supply and cable management, which in this case is actually real easy. We're using the SFX Corsair SF600. I don't know if you guys saw that on Computex. Hey man, hey 1240, how you doing? Yeah, that makes sense. So the SF600 is now going to have a platinum rating, and it was shown at Computex with individually sleeved cables. So it looks like it's getting like quite the upgrade. And I think Johnny Guru or OC3D, when they were testing their SF600, it was almost platinum in all areas except for one load, and I forgot which one it is. But the SF450 tested platinum like everywhere. But for whatever reason they sent it out as gold, but I guess maybe Corsair got it down where they were able to finally get it to certify as platinum. I've had some of the, like, I love the SF600. I have one in the BH2 build. That thing's been, I don't know, at least 2 years old now. It's been bulletproof. But what sucks is with the OEM cables, when you're plugging them into the modular port on the power supply, some of them have been like really hard to get in. Like your fingers are like totally wasted after doing a build. So here's where we're at. We're gonna now do the video card, PCI Express slots, power supply, cable management, and then we should be good. One thing I want to do, guys, is get a capture card though. It'd be fun to do like the whole boot and BIOS and everything. For some people, that's all they need, Owen. Well, you have a car and a computer and you're good. Hey, whatever happened to that RX-8, man? So, 1240, what are the specs on your system? Yo, dude, B00573D. I know I've seen the screen name before, but jog my memory. I'm a little rusty. That'd be funny if like, so you got that 6950X for 300 bucks. Oh, dude, all right, what's up, dude? So maybe you'll find an FD RX-7 for like 5,000 with twin turbo, and it just has a dead battery, and the guy thought it had a bad motor. Maybe your luck will continue. Hey man, how did that 8700 end up working out? Did the load temp stay nice and cool, or excuse me if I butcher this, but I always read your name out as McCall. But he's building an N-Case M1, right? With 8700 and I don't know what video card. He probably somehow got the 32 gigabyte Volta. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not cool like you with all the SFF chassis. Like I gotta thank John actually, because he was the one that showed me this chassis. I gotta spend more time in the SFF forum or whatever it is. So I think Sliger, I don't know if they have their own section. I think they have their own section. But those guys are super cool. Family business, made in America. I like them. They're cool. They're cool people. I so badly wish like these things didn't need to be covered by a cooler, because the CNC copper IHS is so cool looking. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna move this over so you guys can see this. To get this thing in, because I mean literally you really gotta like just be careful and kind of tilt it, and that's how you get it in. Okay. One reason I'm glad we switched to these smaller chassis is like the company I build white label systems for, Bimbox, man, like we would have these things in the Evolve, the ATX Evolve, like packaged nicely, and somehow like UPS would still find ways to shipping damage a computer. That's why I tend to like to ship smaller computers. What was it? What was it doing originally? I know that one you sent was a new one, but I think you had one in there already, right, Mukul? I was wondering if you were able to get that max boost. But ironically, the 8700K only does 4.3 also. Like in Cinebench, it'll only do 4.3 without overclocking. That 4.7, it's like, I don't know, like you look at it wrong and it'll downclock from 4.7. I don't know under what condition it'll run at 4.7. Same thing with the 8086K. I don't know what you gotta do to get it to run at 5 gigahertz. Without overclocking. So it's like you can't buy that thing expecting out of the box 5 gigahertz. It's just not, it's not realistic. Yeah, man, he has that Noctua mod. I'm like so jealous. I'm gonna have to ask him to like make one for me, because I have a C7, but just the regular one. I'm off camera, guys. I'm just getting some brackets I need. Have a box full of brackets for the Sliger chassis. I'm just gonna clean up some of the boxes over here in the meantime. One thing I feel bad about is I tend to throw away all the badges I get, so I might need to start like maybe putting lots together and giving them away or something on Instagram. But I don't know if anyone would pay for the shipping on them though, if I gave them away. What CPU are you gonna use? 1240? Printer, where my printer shows up on stream? Oh wait, you guys must be talking about 3D printers. Okay, never mind. Oh, that's a good little CPU, man. It's nothing to be wrong, nothing to be ashamed of. That 8400 is probably outperforming like last year's probably 7700, the non-K one. I know the 8600K will beat out a 7700K. So I think 4.8 gigahertz 7700K will still lose to a stock 8600K. I gotta double check my benchmarks though, so someone please fact check me. I'm not trying to mislead anybody. Yeah, so that's the cool thing about it, man. Like, you might have an i5 now, but you might upgrade to an i7 later if you need it. If you're just gaming, though, you're gonna be fine. A lot of people, I think, you know, like, we're just a community of, you know, enthusiasts. So we go overkill sometimes, but, you know, it's kind of like cars. Who needs a 1,000 horsepower street car? You know, but why not have it? Right? Hey, dude, does your Tesla have like that hyper mode? Like, man, you have I forgot which Tesla you have. You don't have the regular one, right? You have that newer one that came out. I was wondering if they had those crazy profiles for yours too. I'm bad with the model names on the Teslas, but is it? Yeah, the ludicrous mode. Man, it's like, how are you supposed to compete with that? Like, I mean, it's instant power. I remember though, like, I was at, you know, I used to really be into 8th scale RC cars. You know, the Nitro .21 motors. I remember having like a super nice motor. It was like an OS VZB 21 or something. But it was like a EB mod, so it was like custom ported and polished, and like almost 500 bucks, or maybe it was 450. And I had a buggy, 8th scale buggy, the Low C8, and we're at Revelation Raceway in California, taking jumps and everything. And then this like truggy shows up, and he just had so much power, and we're all like stumped, like, dude, what motor does he have? Like, this dude's got instant power, and he took the body off in the pits, and it was an electric conversion. And I'm like, it hit me that day, like, wow, one day cars, real life cars, are gonna go through the same transformation. So what? Really? Did they literally call it an overclock map, or? That's really cool, man. It's like you're kind of like driving an RC car in a way, like without the remote control. Well, I guess if you do the self-driving, it kind of counts as it. I think it's so funny though, like every car accident a Tesla's involved in, even if it had nothing to do with the Teslas being at fault, like someone could hit the Tesla and the media is like, whoa, Tesla in a car accident. Like, no explanation as to what happened in the headline. Not like, oh, Tesla was hit, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, like, Tesla was in an accident. You know, like, let's just be honest, even if there were Tesla accidents blamed on the technology, the Tesla's gonna have a lower failure rate than a human. So get over it. I'd trust the Tesla over a sleepy driver. Well, I mean, I would trust the car itself too, but... Wow, hey Dropper. That's a funny name. Reminds me of one of my buddies. He would have some name like that. He would give me funny reasons as to why his car had windshields and 4 doors. Alright. So we're almost done, guys. Video card's in. We're just going to do the power supply. For those that maybe are just jumping into the stream, we have an i7 8086K. We did the D-Lid on it yesterday's stream. GTX 1080 for the win. This is like version 1. This isn't the version 2, but let's see. I'm gonna make my OBS screen bigger so I could see how it looks for you guys. We have the 970 Pro 512 gigabyte. We're gonna be using the SF600. The cooler is a 280 millimeter from Thermaltake. Intentionally using the one with these hoses because the radius they need to bend, these flex better. But we're using Corsair ML140 fans in pool because if we go and push, the way the vents are on this case, it just makes the most annoying sound. But you know, most cases will do that. My Case Labs BH2 will do that. So Z370A motherboard, it's a good board. Like, if it doesn't have tons of features, but what it does well, and it overclocks well too. So this system, man, I'm building, it's like a white label build for Bimbox. So basically I'm building it, I'm subcontracted, and it's gonna sell as a Bimbox. Their warranty is nuts, like it's for architects, so I think this is gonna have something like a $5,000 tag on it. But to the Bimbox credit, like, the owner will do whatever it takes to make sure you're up and running. Like, literally, he flew to London once to personally deliver a computer for a client. So that's when you pay extra, but that's the kind of service you get. Parts, maybe like $1,800, $2,000 in parts, somewhere around that. I'm not too sure. A lot of the money's coming in with the video card, the NVMe, because we got the 970 Pro, that's a couple $100. The CPU 425, it's been delitted. I've only overclocked 2 of them so far, but easily 5 gigahertz, easily. And I'm talking about OCCT stress tested 5 gigahertz, easy. Like 1.3 was the lowest one, and the other one was at 1.35 volts. The LLC was kicking it up to like 1.3 or 368, so almost 137. But that one I didn't have time to find the lowest setting. But with the delit and everything, we're I think still like 75 degrees Celsius. Yeah, what you're paying for when you get a Bimbox is the warranty. It's the warranty, man. And it's a small company. Like, I'm their builder right now. It's personalized. It's not like Dell. You get a Dell or HP workstation, you got to go through the phone tree and, level 1 tech support and so on and so forth. It's like, we're small, so you're actually dealing with competent people when you have an issue. So, that's it, the cable management. That's one thing some people think I'm really, really good at. I think I'm pretty good, but, I'm not using custom cables, so that's, some guys are doing like nicer cable management with custom cables. Yeah, power supply. Let's get that. Oh yeah, so like Owen, man, like, we had a 6950X in inventory over here, and I told the owner, I'm like, hey man, we should sell this. There's actually 2 of them. I'm like, we should sell these like before they're worthless. He's like, yeah, good idea. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I know a college student buddy of mine who would love to buy one, but he only has $300. He's like, if he's your friend, go ahead. I'm like, cool, all right. So Owen got one for $300. Yep, 300. Yeah, I know, man, right? Like, I think that was, so you got the i7 you got your i7 for a smoking deal too, though. But, I don't know, Owen scored for sure. I don't know if he's gonna let the second one go that cheap. But it's like, I've been getting DM'd by people like, hey, I heard about Owen's deal. I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, it's true. So, like, I have a few people that have, like, wanted that second one if it sells, and I don't really know. Like Chester was the first one to contact me, so I might just, if I'm able to sell it, I'll probably just give it to him because he was first. Just flat out, he was first. But maybe we'll do like an IG group bid, like auction or something, for like the guys in the IG chat. I'd probably include my Discord buddies because it's like just so few of them. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get my cables out. Oh man, I could hear my boys just came home. At any minute now, I'm expecting my little twin Rugrats to burst in here and interrupt the stream with pure joy with the toys my wife just bought them. My wife was going to take them into the bounty house, but we bribed them with toys in order to like take them another day. Yeah, man, I think I would probably just give it to him. I gotta first see if the owner's even gonna let it go that cheap, because like he really hooked you up. But we also have a 6850K. We have a X299 anniversary board, the Asus 10th year anniversary Rampage or whatever. I don't know if that works though, but I mean he should just sell this stuff. Like it's just taking up space. So these are the cables this power supply comes with. They're alright. I kind of wish they had more traditional cables like the rounded style, but for whatever reason SFX power supplies all come with this style. This is the retarded thing about Silverstone though. Well, first of all, I love Silverstone. They're really cool people. Like talking to them at CES, they are legit. They're really passionate. But why have an 800 watt SFX power supply with only one 8-pin EPS? Dude, throw a dual 8-pin on there. Like, I don't know why you would need an 800 watt with like two 8 pins for the video card and one 8-pin EPS. It doesn't make sense. So I doubt anyone at Silverstone will be listening, but please please resolve that. No, man, McCall, we bribed them, like, so they got toys in order to avoid taking them to the bounty house today. So I think we're gonna take them tomorrow instead, but yeah, the trade-off was toys over no bounty house. How's the weather in New Orleans right now anyways, man? Because it's super hot in the desert, but I think you guys get humidity, right? Buy an 8-pin, P-side. Yeah, but so Owen, regarding that, it only comes with well, you know what? It comes with 2 video card cables, but I think it's I think they're 8x8. So yeah, technically I guess you could do that. I guess I could use one of the GPU cables for the video card and then get an adapter. Yeah, that's something to consider. We have a system. We're gonna, in one of these, we're gonna put a 7900X. Actually, I think we're gonna switch it to a 7920 because it's way cooler than the 7900X. The 7900X runs hotter than the 7920. And we're gonna do 2 Quadro P5000 cards in this chassis. So because the Quadros have the power connectors coming out the front, I can't use the radiator up here. And there's no way we're gonna do a 9.9 without like a 240mm. So we're gonna have to do one, and all the boards seem to have like the first GPU will be in this position. So we're gonna have one P5000 here, one P5000 down here, and then probably a 240mm at the bottom. I was thinking honestly like to do 2 SF600s and then daisy chaining them off of the trigger, the on switch, the on trigger. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting though. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What are you doing? Hold on, guys. There's one of them. You want to say hi to the people? There's the camera right there. You want to say hi? Okay. Daddy's doing the stream. Go outside, buddy. Hold on, guys. Alright guys, hold on a sec. Okay, careful. Oh, careful, careful. Alright, those were the Rugrats. I'm gonna bust a Linus and do a video of them building a computer one day. Actually, the first one in here, he's helped me do like fans and stuff. I'll let him hold a screwdriver and I'll kind of like help him do the fan screws. So right now I'm gonna use all 6 screws that this case comes with, just because it kind of looks cool to have 6 screws, but technically you don't need more than 4, and in all honesty like probably 2 works if you want to get technical. Yeah, man, I just can't wait till they get a little older, because then it's like free child labor. No, but I do want them to get into this. I want them to know how to work on cars. You know, stuff like that. I want them to go to school and get an education in something, but having a trade is so valuable. Ugh, okay, where's... Alright, there we go. So check this out, guys. Look how small this thing is. I believe this is 140 millimeters. So since the contrast and everything is kind of funky, let me get the light out again. This thing is so short, and it's 600 watts. Like, dude. I love this power supply though. It's really quiet. I do it with the fan inward, so that as the air is going in, it actually has a pathway out, because this is all blocked off, so air can go out the bottom, and it's fully vented, so air can go out the top too, but I want to try to direct air through the whole case rather than just out. I'd like for it to just kind of pass through. That's why these like plastic IO covers kind of suck, because now that second heatsink is definitely handicapped in regards to getting air. I talked to Sliger about getting custom ones. Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry, one of my boys is looking for their backpack. So they can ship these with vented ones, but it almost sounds like it might be cheaper to just buy them third party. I don't know, like that's something to think about. Like, I've thought about it. I just don't know if I want to do that yet. Whoa, 1240, that's super awesome. I used to live in Huntington Beach, so Blizzard is in Irvine, and before I did the computer work, I was a forklift mechanic. Well, actually, I started off with Mercedes-Benz, but so one of my accounts, Volcom, like they were like practically across the street from Blizzard. So I would drive by Blizzard all the time and just like wish I could go in there one day. And then ironically, last year in December, I did cable management on one of the, I believe he was like the community manager or some sort of manager at Blizzard. I did his cable management. Like he gave me like an Overwatch notebook and his business card and stuff. And I'm like, well, that'd be cool if I ever got to do something for Blizzard, but like a build or something. But I don't know. I don't really think anything like that since I'm now in Nevada. Alright, so this is like this is just I think the cleanest way to do the cables on this chassis. The owner or one of the son, so Sliger's a family business, and all I know is he's the son of the family. I think he's one of their engineers. You know, obviously he's an older guy. You know, he's like at least in his 20s, but he's one of their engineers. He's mentioned some people complain about cable management in this chassis, so he's thinking if they ever do like a revision 2, they might add space behind the motherboard for cables, but I think it's like not totally necessary. This is exactly what I do. I plug in all the connectors first, so I'm doing the 8-pin on the power supply, or on the motherboard, the EPS, and then we're going to go just plug everything in. I support the back of the video card when I plug these in, just because I don't want to like stress the slot or anything. So I'm using Logitech C922s. It's their 1080p, like 30 FPS one. I want to try the 4K one. It's the 920 is the one right before the one I have. It's the 922, but yeah, pretty much. I think it's almost the same camera. I want to get a capture card so I could use my Sony a6000 with a macro lens. That way I think I could get the ISO and everything dialed up so you guys could see a lot better, but yeah. Dude, what's up, OG? Thanks for coming by, man. I know normally like I try catching you stream, but have you started up again? Guys, OG, you know, Original Gamester, he used to, I don't know, are you doing like Fortnite or anything, or, but he used to do a lot of H1Z1, stuff like that. I think he started his channel with like FIFA for a console, and then he's been enlightened and he's like PCMR now, part of the PC gaming community. I did his first system. Well, one of his systems I did, an X99 one, but he said it sucked and he ended up buying another computer and never wants to build from me ever again. So, but he's still cool. Oh, dude, you're moving to Arizona? So you know I'm in Vegas now, so man, dude. This guy posts videos of him working out, and he's in Long Beach or something. He's working out at this gym with like an ocean view, and I'm like, hearing that you're going to Arizona, that's just gonna suck. But Arizona has some cool parts, man. Congratulations. Dude, I still have my N64. Yeah, that was the last console. I had a PS2. That was after N64. I got the PS2 because there were so many racing games that came out in that era. Alright, so I did the 24 pin, guys, and I just kind of bend it in this way. So you could see this has like a downward radius because these are going to come up this way. Oh man, dude. But no, I know you like that system. I'm sure he's enjoying it. I remember the Craigslist ad you sent me. It was like a really nice system. I don't blame you, man. You got a smoking deal on it. But are you still streaming? Because I don't think I've seen you come into my notifications recently. Yeah, it was PS2. I got that for Gran Turismo also, and there was like Midnight Club, and like those were the PS2 had the best Need for Speeds. Like, so like guys, this is what I'm gonna do here. That's kind of like I think a little unique. So because GPUs will sag, I kind of like apply a little bit of pressure on the cable. Like in a way, I'm training it to also be a GPU brace. And then now I'm just like zip tying it. So now it's like, you know, the cables are actually holding it in place now too. And then I just loop these around, and we're gonna occupy the top two. We're gonna occupy the top two 8 pins on the power supply. Yeah, this must be a newer batch of the SF600 because these cables are super easy to plug in. And then I'm just going to kind of bend things a little bit so they're nice and clean. I'm going to add more zip ties. But now with this one, the EPS, we're just going to kind of follow this one down the backside, and all three of those are going to be zip tied together. The EPS will go in the bottom. This is why I love this chassis. It's completely open up here, completely open over here. It's just so easy to work in. Like people that complain about cable management in this chassis, I think maybe like, you know, if they look at it a little differently, you know, like they could probably get really nice results. But I love this thing. I have a really short list of improvements I want to make to it that I emailed Sliger about. Potentially maybe have my own personal revision or a collaboration with Binbox. Just to like kind of do a few different things. Oh dude, everybody loves SOCOM. I never played it though. Oh, Turok, man, that was the game I loved to hate. It was super good looking when it first came out, but I just could never beat that game either. There was a map I kept getting stuck on. Let's see. What's our second location for the PC? Okay, there's 3 different configurations. This is the first one. The second one would be ATX. This will be the ATX mount. The third one, it goes straight down here. So it's kind of more like those, I think your DAN case might mount this way. It would just, there's a different bracket you buy, and then it just mounts down this way. They include the extension, and then it'll plug in back here. You'll just have the plug. I used this configuration for air-cooled, and like the U9S Noctua did great, like no problems. But Binbox overclocks everything, so we went all-in-one cooler, like the liquid cooling route, and we needed to go this way. Horizontal up front, or vertical, I'm sorry, vertical up front for the SFX. There's no ATX for the front just because clearance issues. Yeah, man, so it's funny, like when I first started building computers as a business, I was like, yeah, overclock workstations. And then being in the real world, there were just a few instances where like the Autodesk software, dude, workstation software sucks, guys. It's a lot of money and it's not always stable. So things would come up and I'm like, oh, well, let's see if it's the overclock. I'd pull the overclock. No, it's still funky. Like next thing you know, an Autodesk update comes out and it fixes the problem. But you have the client look at you like, oh, is it your overclock? And then I end up wasting time checking to see if it's the overclock or not. And I'm like, no, it's not the overclock, sorry. So I kind of like slowly drifted away from overclocking workstations. Oh man, thanks OG for stopping by, dude. I hope to see you stream soon, but it sounds like you're going to be real busy moving. My first PC game, I'll get into that in a second. But so I kind of got away from overclocking workstations, and then I would only overclock gaming builds. By the way, we're done with cable management. That's everything. But Bimbox came around, and they're like, overclock everything, like more speed, like MOAR more, and cool, man. Well, I know how to overclock, but we gotta stress test the, like we have to stress test them like crazy, and the process we're doing right now seems to work really well. We haven't had any issues. We're doing 1 hour of OCCT, large data set, and we follow that up with 4 hours of real bench, and we haven't had any issues. OCCT though is brutal, so if it passes 1 hour, you're probably good on everything. Let's see. Dang, dude. Man, yeah. I don't need to know how old you are, but I'm curious how old you are. Till 40. I mean, I'm 35. My first gaming PC was an E-Machines, and it had a Voodoo graphics card, and I think it was an Intel Pentium or something. And I remember playing MechWarrior demo. I didn't have money for like full versions, so it was like demos. Like, and I think it was like Unreal Tournament. One of the Unreal Tournaments was on a demo where you could do like 2 maps, online play over 56K modem. That was so much fun. Man, so many hours doing Unreal Tournament or downloading music off of Napster. Dude, Owen, good luck, man. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so I'm 35, and I remember in the 90s, I was so into computers back then. I don't even remember Sub 7. It was like a hacking program. But anyways, man, the 90s, it seemed like every Sunday paper came out with like a faster CPU. As a child, I remember it like, whoa, 50 megahertz. Man, we're at 75 megahertz. Whoa, 85 or 90 megahertz. It was just like, whoa, they broke 100. They're 125 megahertz. It was so crazy back then. And we really have been kind of stale these past few years. Not a lot has happened. If you have a Sandy Bridge CPU, you're not that bad off. I would say now's the time to upgrade. Like Coffee Lake, excellent. AMD's 2700X, the Ryzen refresh, dude, that's even good for gaming now, like legitimately. So thank you AMD for stepping it up. Man, yeah, so oh man, so you're almost at the anniversary, the i7 8086 anniversary. 10 megahertz, man. I don't know if I was just lucky, but I remember my schools, like in 1989, I was in first grade, and I remember our lab, we had I don't remember what computers they were, but they were black and green screens. Definitely the floppy drives. Elementary school, like so early 90s, I think a lot of the schools are doing the Apple computers. And I remember then thinking, like, this is revolutionary. I can drag and drop. Like, whoa, this is nuts. I really liked Apple back then. They had like a leapfrog moment. But you know, I was a kid. It's just, and then being a kid, I remember I used to order up all the free trials of like AOL, and so I could get the free floppies, and then you know just store images and stuff. Dude, Nick, about time, man. I'm almost done though. So guys, this is done, man. We'll be overclocking these will be overclocked. Look at how small that power supply is. This is gonna be probably my next personal system. I may put the 8086 in this. I'm not sure. You know what? Maybe I'll do the Ryzen build in here. I'll do my 1800X in this. I'll keep the BH2 like 8086 ITX. That's at 5 gigahertz with the D-lid. I'll throw my 1800X in one of these, I think, because the 7920X deserves the R6. So, I mean, we got a 970 Pro in there, Nick. It's a 512. We got 32 gigs. Oh, that was one thing I didn't mention. It says 32 gigs of RAM, 3200 megahertz. With the workstation loads, like, actually, like, you know, we've done some workstation benchmarks, and that's like the one area where it scales nicely. Like, we've gone up to 4000 megahertz, and it keeps scaling. Like one benchmark went from like 78 seconds to 74 seconds. It's not a lot, but off of just 32 versus 4000, that was like more than I expected. So, man, that's cool. I always wanted a computer in the 90s, but my father was just like kind of anti-computers. So it wasn't until like the late 90s we got one for the house. Otherwise, we were on word processors, and I felt all cool because like our word processor had a little LCD screen, you know, and type up my papers that way. I don't know if Owen and like the Peasantry Hut, like that's Nick. I don't know if they know what a processor is. They probably know what typewriter is because of hipsters, but yeah, if you want, like, I don't know. Ironically, I was at a Best Buy and they had a word processor, a digital one. I was like, who the heck still has these? A word processor? It was basically a digital typewriter. Yeah, it's literally like a digital typewriter. And ironically, Best Buy had one on their floor. It was in a box, but we'll pop on the panel so you guys can see what's up. This is optional at this point. Oh, here's the other thing. This chassis, they make brackets for like 2.5 and 3.5 inch drives. You could mount drives on this bracket or on the floor. That's why the venting is this way. Technically in the front as well. But so down here with the radiator up front, we could mount like two 3.5 inch drives. We would occupy some of the bays, the slots, the PCI Express slots. But if you needed all your PCI Express slots, if you could do one 3.5 inch, and dude, what, they're like up to like 12 terabytes now? They're definitely up to 10 terabytes. I think Seagate or someone had a 12 terabyte hard drive. So really, man, there's, you know, it's crazy. You could get two NVMe drives. So you could technically have up to 4 terabytes of NVMe drives without going into the PCI Express slots, a 10 terabyte or 12 terabyte 3.5 inch, and I'm sure you could shove a few 2.5 inch drives in here. This chassis has tons of potential. It's so underrated. I wanted to do this live stream just to kind of get this chassis out there. Although I'm sure, like, you know, I don't know how many people were watching on the stream, but just if one person learned about this chassis, I'd be happy. Oh yeah, I forgot. You know, I'm gonna make McCall a mod too. I may regret that one though, but I'm gonna have a bunch of swords in here. Let's see. Oh no, I almost reported you. I'm gonna mod you and then where'd McCall go? I'll mod him as well. So there we go. We got a few more mods now. I don't know. I may regret modding McCall. As long as overclocked PC doesn't show up. Well, I might have to mod him too. I don't know. That might be a bad idea. I may have to unmod people. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone's a mod. You're a mod. You're a mod. I like you. I like you. Nah, I don't like you. Forgot what movie it was. That The Office or the Office movie. So here we go, guys. This is why I like these hoses, because they're super flexible. This pops on. Boom. My Trump impersonation. It's the best. It's the greatest. I have such good impersonations. Hold on. I need to just make sure it's not pinched. Alright, cool. Alright. What I will do, so once these pass stress testing, I sign the back. This is why I like this chassis. I get to sign my name all nice and big here. One of the few things I would change about this chassis, I told them, like, dude, if you could just make this cutout a little bigger, that way you could get these brackets on. And then I suggested like changing some of the zip tie points, but man, there's not a whole lot. I would like a bigger one made for, like, you know, i9s with more storage options. But dude, this chassis is like legit. I love it. It's dude, you know what? I picture like an Armenian saying like, it's the greatest. Alright, and then this is the window version. Here, what I'll do, guys, I'll power this up just so you guys could see kind of what it looks like, but I don't have the monitor and everything set up. But trust me, it'll work. Trust me. I promise. Unless there's something defective. I had a bad Seasonic power supply the other day. It failed. Like, I was stress testing and it failed. Alright. It's probably going to train the memory, so if it shuts off once, that's what that is. Let's see. Oh, dang it! I couldn't make it through one stream without offending someone. I'm sorry, buddy. Let's see. Man, I have 4 overhead lights in here too. So that's just the RGB from the motherboard. I usually turn those off, but I might set them to blue and ship them. I'm not sure yet. But that's it. I think I'm gonna avoid this conversation. I honestly don't want to offend anybody. But it's associating as an ITX enclosure. Even though it's an ATX enclosure, it's associating as an ITX. And I don't blame it because it's smaller than some ITX chassis, I'm pretty sure. There, I just lost all chances of being a Twitch affiliate, I'm sure. So look, we're at 15 inches, which I know you guys can't read. Just take my word for it, I promise. That square is like 16, and then let's see, we're like 14 and a quarter. The thickness is like something like okay, 16 3/4. So less than 7 inches in width. So yeah. Any questions? Right? Once upon a time in America, like, you were allowed to speak your mind, and if someone got offended, you just acknowledge, hey, we disagree, and you move on with life. But I think we've had it so good in America where people are starting to just make big deals out of little things. I mean, I'll never go out of my way to insult somebody, but I just totally think people need to relax. Spend some time in New York a little bit. So guys, man, I don't want the stream to end, but I don't really have anything else to do, and any suggestions for the next one? I don't know, like, I know the cameras could be better, but how do these camera angles work out okay, or? I'm just gonna go to I'm over here on the streaming computer. Oh, dude, like, I've never been to New York, but I've never heard of anyone that's been to New York say the city's nice. I've heard that they say it stinks, there's rats, everyone's rude, it's expensive, but they have good food and entertainment. Yeah, I was thinking about doing like an overhead one, but I need a different attachment to the tripod. Um, at the Huntington Beach place, I had it kind of on the wall, going down. But these cameras, I need to get better ones, honestly. Yeah, so someone I follow on YouTube, Louis Rossman. If you guys don't know him, I found out about him because Linus Tech Tips had him on their show. But Louis Rossman has a repair shop in like downtown New York, and he charges a ton of money. But people don't realize, like, dude, he has a retail spot in New York. He's got to pay for it somehow. Dude, I love his like rant videos, like, and he used to have like a lot of like kind of like business related videos that were kind of cool too. Yeah, but Apple's like his business. He fixes Apple, so in a way, it's good they make the design choices they do because it gives them work to do. But yeah, like I told you my theory, like with the whole video card market. Alright, so I would love for Intel to come out and dethrone Nvidia, and then Samsung would buy AMD, which was formerly ATI, and then now that Samsung owns it, they can screw over Apple, and then they could have enough money to take out Intel and Nvidia, hopefully. But man, I feel like Nvidia's holding out so bad on video cards, and honestly, it's like gamers aren't their priority. They're making so much money off of their quadros with AI and deep learning and just VR, real-time rendering. Nvidia's, they could probably stop building gaming cards and be just fine. Yeah, the saying I like is like, good work ain't cheap and cheap work ain't good. It's absolutely true. There's times where you'll pay a lot and you get ripped off, but everyone's racing to be the cheapest. Look guys, my labor rate is 60 an hour, and usually builds start at about 360. I can tell you, like, this build, if I were doing it for someone like a retail client, I'd probably be charging somewhere about, considering it's delidded, it's overclocked, I would probably be around 600 or so, somewhere around there, just because there's so much labor involved. And if you want me to warranty it and stand by it for 2 years, I mean, I gotta make something. Yeah, Nvidia has zero competition, and we saw what happened when AMD challenged Intel. Intel had no competition. AMD was irrelevant, and dude, they came out with that Ryzen CPU, shook it up. Man, Intel, I feel, is literally scrambling for once. I mean, in all honesty, Intel has the most stable platform right now. Threadripper 2, if it is as good as Ryzen 2 was, I think Threadripper 2 can be a CPU that I would fully embrace. But as of right now, if I'm building a workstation, I still prefer Intel. Because at the end of the day, Intel has the performance. You just got to spend twice as much as AMD, but it's more stable. But yeah, I don't think Intel knows what they're doing right now. I think they literally got sucker punched by AMD, and they have not come up with a game plan yet. Like, aren't they struggling to go down to 7 nanometer? I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Dude, that 32 core, there was a leaked, wasn't it like a 7000 CB Cinebench score? I absolutely can believe that. I don't look the 7980XE I did. I think that was that I think that was like 3500 or 3700 CB at 3.6 gigahertz. I think it scored a 3500. And I don't know where the 4 gigahertz ones are. I think 4 gigahertz was like 3700. Um, but that's 18 cores. Um, I don't know, and that's like a $2,000 processor. I think 32 core is going to come out for like $2,000 to $3,000, but it's a 32 core that's going to render like a beast. Oh man, 1240. That's the one thing I totally want a CPU wafer. I would love to have one on my wall. I don't have an electronics engineering degree or nothing. I'm like school of hard knocks. Like I started off in cars, worked for Mercedes-Benz for 4 years, bumper to bumper, got my master certification with Mercedes. Economy crashed, went to work on forklifts because just product needs to move even in a bad economy. And then I started my business with my boys. You know, we were starting to try for kids. So my business is literally born the same year as my boys. So that's been 3 years now. But I've been an enthusiast for maybe 7 years. You know, aware of computers since the 90s, but yeah. But that said, I would love to have like a CPU wafer. Dude, Nick, you still have like the platinum. You have the best 4790K ever made. Like yours was like probably like the centermost. There's probably like yours is like probably 2% of the yields. 2950X. Are you presuming that'll be the 24 core? Because weren't they gonna go 2970X for the 32? Oh, okay, 2990X. Okay. So what I will say about Intel, everyone's saying like, oh, it's just a Xeon processor. Well, yeah, and the 32 core AMD is an EPYC processor. Big deal. I don't care. Like, but the fact that it was a 28 core, 5 gigahertz on a liquid chiller, like, dude, come on, seriously? Like, it was a great demo, but I literally think it was a reaction to AMD 100%. Yeah, the 32 core is going to be nuts. You know, Nick, honestly, man, you might very well be right about that 0.5%. Hold on a sec. Time to have some coffee. Man, it was probably a bad idea to drink out of that on stream. The way people edit photos. Oh man, you have an exciting career history. One of my clients, he's an older gentleman as well. Started off as an engineer in I think it was the 70s, and then when all of the jobs started to go overseas, you know, he was working out of like Torrance Russell Gundo as an engineer for GM. He pivoted to be an attorney, so he's been doing that. He's now semi-retired, but you have like, you know, he has some of the coolest stuff he's made in his garage. Yeah, the nice thing about AMD is they're launching, I think Q3, right, guys? That's huge, and X399 is compatible. You don't even need a new motherboard. That 28 cores, their server socket, the what, like, I don't know, it's 34 something or other socket. Yeah, dude, they beat them to it. No, no worries, man. It's like what, like it's what, midnight over there, McCall? Um, but hey guys, I'll see you guys later. I think this is a good time to stop the stream. 12:40. I hope to see you on here soon. I'm gonna try to do more live streams, live builds, more D-lids. If I have a long gap, I might try to fill it with some gaming, but I'm not the best gamer. I love to game, but or maybe some like overclocking. Maybe we could do some live overclocking. Oh, dude, I still gotta do Windows. What I'm gonna do now that I have two of them, I have the ISO already, the custom image, so I'll be overclocking these probably within an hour or so. I need to get the capture card. So what's cool is that since I have the test bench on a KVM, I would only need one capture card to capture. I could switch between them, so we could do like live overclocking on 2 or 3 of them at the same time. Yeah, and then because I know Owen, Nick, you guys are like very good at overclocking. Intel's super easy to overclock, but getting down and dirty with like some of the custom settings, that'd be fun to have all of us on here. Dude, and ironically, a KVM is really hard to shop for. The biggest problem you're gonna have is that when you switch between computers, the last thing you want is the computer to recognize it lost the monitor and everything. So this, I forget what it's called, but this KVM I have, it's, let me see. I don't have the box in here. It's like a Cyba, C-Y-B-A KVM. You know, the computer never knows that it got switched. So when I plug back into it, it's not rearranging the desktop or anything. The one that'd be fun to do a live overclock on would be the 7920X. I think getting that on the 360mm radiator, that'd be pretty fun to try for like 4.7 or 4.8. Yeah, 5.2 on the 4790K is really good. The perk core tuning would be kind of cool, just like doing one at a time. And man, I don't know how people would like that live though. That might be a little tedious, but it'd be fun to try it out though on a personal system. I would never do that on a client one because it'd take way too long. But yeah. Cool guys, so I think we'll end this stream. Basically, you know, if you guys would like a custom computer built by me, my social media and stuff will have my webpage, but it's REMISCS.com. I do D-lids, custom builds. So I'm based out of Las Vegas right now. I do ship across the country. And yeah, it's email and say hi. And let me know you saw the stream. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help as well. So guys, let me just switch to the exit page. Yeah, you really have to earn it if you're doing per core tuning. But guys, thanks for being a part of the stream. I'm gonna tune out and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.